Perfect. What's going on, boys? Norm here. We are in the Flavor Lab, and what we're doing today, the East Coast Lobster Poutine. That sounds all right. All right, now, boys, so what this is a home-cut French fry topped with cheese, then finished with a cream sauce and lobster meat. Fairly straightforward, but we are going to be making the lobster stock ourselves. So that's where it gets a little tiny bit complicated. Not really. It's just we have to actually make that instead of just buying it at the store. Now, what we're going to need for the lobster stock. Now, what I did is I grabbed some pre-cooked lobster claws. These are not as good as fresh lobster, but for this video, for the humane reasons, I'm not going to kill animals on my YouTube video. Just not going to. So I got these on sale, and they are basically just cooked lobster claws that we are going to shell, keep the shells, put them in a pot. We're going to make a stock out of it. With that, we're going to add in a little bit of onion and garlic. We're going to need those things. That's all we really need for the stock. For the fries, all we need is our favorite potato. What I ended up getting was a bag of russet potatoes. So I'm going to use some today, some tomorrow for another dish that I'm making. Cheese curds, if you have them. I like the Saputo cheese myself. I usually cube this up or shred it. I'm probably going to do little cubes because the mozzarella is very similar to a cheese curd. We are going to use the secret weapon. What is our secret weapon? The garden herb from Maritime Madness. Flies are deadly. This is the equalizer. I put this on my French fries all the time. Just a little tiny bit of seasoning. Brightens everything up. Fantastic. The only other things that we're going to need besides this that I don't have is we're going to need probably about a cup of white wine. Possibly a little bit of cream or milk. We'll see how the lobster stock looks without it. A little bit of butter. Probably about a quarter cup. And a little bit of flour. That's it. So now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to get this open. I'm going to start shelling this lobster, and then I'm going to come back, show you how to make that stock. Stay right there. All right, guys, so we got all the lobster shelled. I actually found some onion from yesterday that I had already just a little portion of. So I put the other one away, waste not, want not, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rough chop. This is probably about a quarter of a red onion. Fire that into the pot with the lobster shells that we had. So now that we got the onion in with the lobster shells, so everything we saved all those lobster shells. We want that. We'll put that in. Then what we're going to do is we are going to put a nice spoonful of garlic in there. Don't be shy. Drop that in. Then we just need a little tiny bit of salt. I use the sea salt because, well, it's a sea creature. I just take the top off because I'm not going to crack it. I put in about 2 or 3 tablespoons of it. Then what I'm going to do is drop in roughly a cup. It's in a nice wine glass of whatever your favorite white wine is. Buy a nice bottle of it. Use a little tiny bit for cooking. And then you can have a little bit with your meal if you want. I'm going to take this, top this up with water, bring it to a boil, then bring it down to a simmer, and then I'm going to get started on our French fries. I'll be back in a few, guys. Alright, guys, so now that the lobster shells and the aromatics are boiling down on the stove, I'm going to get to work on the potatoes. Now I know that I showed you russets earlier, but it turns out I had a couple red potatoes left, so I'm going to start with these guys. Depending on how many there are, I'm going to get into the other bag. I got some other stuff to do with those tomorrow. Look forward to that. If you're new to the lab, I am just cutting these up and into basically about 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. I mean, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know exactly how to make these home fries. Basically, standard French fry shape like that. I'll keep my eyes as wide open as possible because the last time mine were shut and I made a thumbnail of it, I look like I'm cooked out of my brain. I'm not doing that again. We're not doing that. This is what they look like. About 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by whatever that is, about 5 centimeters. We're going to put them into a bowl, and then what we're going to do is we are going to put some water in that, and we are going to let the starch come out so we can get a crispier fry before we air fry it. But If you don't have an air fryer, don't worry about it. Convection oven works. If you don't have that, you can put them in the regular oven. This takes a little bit more flipping. It's going to take a little tiny bit longer. Where these will probably take about 30 minutes. In a regular oven, they'll probably take about 40. You just got to flip them a couple more times. That's it. The air fryer that I have has a basket, so I probably won't have to flip these at all. So God love. But anyways, also if you don't want to do the chopping, you don't want to do this, just buy frozen French fries if you don't want to do it. Like, it's all good. Like, you don't have to do this. Buy whatever you want. And if you want to deep fry them as well. I don't do it usually because I find it where our closets and stuff are really close to the kitchen, it kind of stinks up a lot of our clothes. Not stinks, but you can smell like the oil on them for a while. I mean, I don't mind so much, but I get an earful about it, and I don't want that. That lobster stock should be coming up to a boil soon. Then we're going to let that simmer while these soak, and then the rest is going to come together pretty quickly, boys. We'll be eating. Then maybe napping. Then we're going to watch some hockey. Leafs Habs tonight. That should be a good tilt, boys. Now, what is it? I think it's 3-2 in a series. I know that hockey's over for me because we know I'm a Flyers fan, but I mean, Leafs Habs, that's good hockey to watch. Anyways, we'll see what happens. We'll be back in a little bit. Get your beers, get your wine, get whatever you're getting going on. Get ready. Dirty feed happening right after this, boys. All right, boys. Welcome back. Had the potatoes soaking for about a half an hour. No, actually about 20 minutes. Then I took them out, let them sit for about 5 in the strainer, then tossed them, let them sit for another 5. So probably about half an hour total with the soak and the dry. We had the lobster stock basically boil for a hard boil for 10 minutes. Then I reduced it to a simmer for 20 minutes. So we're getting some of that nice lobster flavor out of them shells now. That's tasting pretty good. I tasted it decent. I dropped a little tiny bit of our secret weapon in there, just a little tiny bit into the lobster stock, just because I love it. I like that taste. I like the herbs that they put in that. It's going to be delicious. The only thing I think that might taste better than that would probably be if the Leafs lose tonight. Now, you guys probably won't see this until probably about Wednesday or so, or later on in the week. But if the Leafs lose tonight, the salty tears that's going to come out of the boys. If I could bottle that and sell it, I'd be the richest man on the planet. I'd be like Norm Bezos. I'd be rich. Norm Gates. But she wouldn't be fit. Salty Leafs tears. Bottle that. Anyways, that's for next time on the lab. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start tossing our fries in a little bit of this. We don't want to go too crazy on it. So we're going about a half a tablespoon. Give that a little toss. You're going to see some more white of the potato. Give it another half teaspoon or so. Give that a little toss. Get that coated. There we go. Here's what we're looking for, something like that. You can see that. Now, we don't need a ton of vegetable oil because we're doing it in the air fryer. We just probably need a couple tablespoons. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give that a little tiny drizzle. Then we're going to give that another toss. You can mix this up if you're not comfortable. You don't want stuff all over your kitchen, flying everywhere because you're clumsy like me. I'm just gambling by, to be honest with you. So give that a little toss. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that into our air fry basket. So what I'm doing, thinking ahead, I have the bottom rack for my air fryer that I covered in tinfoil. And I am going to use then the air fry basket. So why am I doing that? I'm going to put the foil covered tray at the bottom so that if there's any excess oil on this, it's going to drop off. I covered it in foil because I don't want to have to clean that bottom one, and then it's not going into the burner at the bottom because there might be a little excess oil. We don't want it burning up on the thing and setting off smoke alarm yet again and getting everybody in the neighborhood mad at you because the dogs are starting to go bananas and all that stuff. It's a scene you don't want. So anyways, get these guys out. Get them spread out. That's what I'm talking about there, guys. There we go. That looks good. I'm going to pop that into the air fryer at probably about 400. I'm thinking, so this is a new thing that I got. It's the Ninja air fryer. So I haven't done a whole lot of fries in it. So I'm going to pop these in. I'm going to start at about 20. check them out. I have a feeling it's going to be between 30 to 40 minutes, probably closer to 30. I'll let you guys know when they come out, but I'm going at 400 on air fry, which is basically like circulating air for convection. Gonna probably be about 30 minutes, but I'll let you know as soon as I get back. Now, once I know that they're just about done, we're gonna get started on that sauce, and then this is all done. All right, guys, welcome back. So the fries are almost done. Sorry about the noise. The air fryer is right next to us, so it's gonna be a little bit loud. Don't worry about that. So what we're gonna do is I got the cast iron going at about medium heat. We're gonna make a roux. Now a roux is equal parts flour, butter. What that's gonna do is that's gonna be a thickening agent for this sauce, this gravy that we're gonna do. It's basically just like a seafood sauce, but it's almost identical to a gravy. So I'm gonna get the butter melting. So I did about 1/3 of a cup each. Also, what I did is I cubed up the cheese that I'm gonna use. So I'm just gonna use cubed up mozzarella, very similar to a cheese curd, but I have mozzarella on hand because I use it for a lot of other stuff. So just gonna go with that. So I'm gonna get my butter going. Let that melt down. It's only gonna take about half a minute. That whole 1/3 cup of butter is gonna be melted down. We're gonna add the flour in, then we're gonna whisk it. So just a little heads up as to what we're gonna do here. Once I whisk once the butter melts and we whisk in the flour, what's gonna happen is gonna come to a little paste. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start ladling in that lobster stock that we made. After that, we whisk that on a medium heat. Maybe we'll turn it up a little tiny bit. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little tiny bit of cream to it, taste it. If we need to season it, we'll season it. If not, we should be fine. I think it's just gonna require because we have enough salt and stuff into the lobster stock. So we should be laughing, guys. Butter's just about melted. All right, guys, so that's what we're looking at there. We're looking at like a slurry. Now we're gonna start ladling in our lobster stock. Now that we got that mixed up, we got a nice little gravy going. I'm gonna add a little tiny bit of cream. Make it a little tiny bit richer, probably about 1/3 of a cup. It's also gonna give us that nice whiter color that we want for a cream sauce. All right, guys, we're good to go. So fries came out wicked. They're nice and crispy. Look at that air fried French fry, guys. Look. Awesome, awesome. We got that lobster meat that we shelled. Nice and liberal. Now we get on there with our makeshift cheese curds. There we go, guys. Now we're gonna go at it with our seafood gravy. I have a little spout on mine. I'm gonna give that 2 seconds just to let the cheese melt, guys. Give me 2 minutes, tops. All right, guys, we waited a minute or two. Let's get into this. Look at that.
Perfect.
French fry, cream sauce, cheese, lobster. Oh, guys, there is nothing wrong with that at all. All right, guys, so try this recipe out. This one's legit. I want to know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about the video. But seriously, this is East Coast heaven. Let me know what you think.